change, and it will start with me today. One song, one voice, stand up, it's your choice. If you're feeling me, get on your feet and sing with me. I won't leave this world the way I came. I won't leave it alone.
Hello and welcome to Project One Voice Live. I'm your host, Eric McMillan McCall. And on today's show, we're talking everything Juneteenth. So this Sunday is Juneteenth, June 19th, and June 20th, of course, is the day we will celebrate that federal holiday. So on these 2 days, Project One Voice is doing its annual Juneteenth celebration of Black artistic endeavors. So on June 19th, we have our annual Project One Voice Honors, celebrating Black artistry around the entire country. And on June 20th, we will present our one day, one play event, our national stage reading, with a stage reading of From the Mississippi Delta by Dr. Endesha Ida Mae Holland. So, and on today's show, we have an extraordinary guest. I mean, you talk about legendary, you talk about extraordinary, that's this guest. So let me tell you a little bit about our guest. Our guest today is Vivian Reed. Vivian is a multi-award winner with 2 Tony Award nominations, a Drama Desk Award, a Theater World Award, an Outer Critics Circle Award, a Dance Education of America Award, an NAACP Award, a Mabel Mercer Award, and more. You know, look, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So Tony, can we just see Vivian?
Fellows that she can't get off, fellows that she ain't met. Georgia named her, Georgia claimed her, sweet Georgia Brown. Oh, honey, what have we here? She can get hard, fella, that she ain't met. Georgia named Georgia claimed her, sweet Georgia Brown. Oh, sweet Georgia Brown. Whoa, yeah.
Now, see, that is the incomparable, the gorgeous, the phenomenally talented with those amazing, amazing legs. Please welcome Vivian Reed.
Hey there, Eric. Who was that dancing and singing? Was that me?
Of course it was you, Vivian.
Yes, now, honey.
Look,
loved it.
That's one of your signature numbers, right?
Yes, from Bubbling Brown Sugar.
Sweet Georgia Brown. It's when you got your first Tony nomination, correct?
Absolutely. First Tony nomination. Mm-hmm.
And you also won the Drama Desk, right?
Won the Drama Desk Award, Outer Critics Circle Award, a bunch of awards back then.
Oh, fantastic. So tell us, what was it like seeing this number after all these years?
You mean performing the number or seeing it just now? Just
seeing it just now. Yeah.
It makes me ache all over. Lord, did I get my legs up that high? I remember I used to do a 6 o'clock, which is a kick all the way up here. So when I look at myself do those kind of things today, when I look at videos, old videos, I said, Lord, did I just start aching? Did I do that? But no, it feels good, you know, and it's my legacy. Yeah. You know, something being left to posterity.
It's definitely your legacy. So this show was directed by Billy Wilson and choreographed by Billy Wilson, right? Correct?
Well, no, Robert Cooper was the director. It was choreographed by Billy Wilson. Mm-hmm. But, you know, Billy was not the first choreographer. The first choreographer was Fred Benjamin. And when we were at the Moss Repertory Theater, that's where Bubbling Brown Sugar started. And with Loretta Lenoir, Rosetta Lenoir. And but they thought that Fred was maybe a little too soft to be dealing with theater people because he was used to having his own company, you know, with modern dancers. And it's, you know, we have a whole different kind of mentality, the theater people, and we have to be dealt with. We can't be too soft. So in came Billy Wilson when we went to Broadway.
Oh, wow. So that was just one of your features in the show. So your other number was
God Bless the Child.
God Bless the Child. I mean, that arrangement by Danny Holgate.
Well, it was an arrangement by myself and Danny Holgate.
Okay.
At first, because there was no role, I created that role. And when he was suggesting songs for me to sing, when he mentioned God Bless the Child, I didn't want to do it. And he said, why don't you want to do it? I said, because I'm not feeling that way to sing like most people sing that song, that hardcore jazz way of singing that song. I didn't want to do it like that. So he said, you can do it whatever way you want. And so I said, really? So I went about changing the chords. And so together we came up with that arrangement. And that treatment of that song had never been done before.
Yeah.
Never.
It had never been done before. So that became your signature number. Yeah.
It became my signature number. And it's so funny because when I sing it now, not that I wasn't in it then, because I've sung it down through the years, but I think as I have gone on through life, dealing with different kinds of situations, it's become much more meaningful to me as opposed to when I was singing it then, because I was very young. But as the actress, I'm going to make any song that I sing at whatever age, I need to make it believable for the audience. That is our job, whether you have lived that experience or not. But years later, after I've experienced so much in my life, it just has a much deeper meaning for me.
Of course, of course. God always blesses the child who has his own, right?
Yeah, you got to go get it for yourself because nobody's going to give it to you. So many of us, you know, people in show business, especially, I'm only going to speak about show business because that's what I do. They want something handed to them on a silver platter and they don't want to work for it. But like with anything, you work for it. You work on your craft. You try to become as good as you can, the best you that you can be. Yeah. You have to work at that. That is not going to descend on you. And then you can't hating on people because either they're getting reviews or a critic has picked them out of the show. You can't be hating on them. Only worry about you. And that's my philosophy. Worry about you.
Yeah. You know, Vivian, I had the great pleasure of seeing you do this live a few years back when Project One Voice honored Linda Twine and Danny Holgate. That's right. It was absolutely breathtaking. It was phenomenal. And it was just vintage Vivian Reed.
Thank you.
Not only did I see you do that live, but I also saw you in your second Tony nominated performance in High Rollers.
Yes.
I saw you at the Helen Hayes. You were phenomenal again. You know, if I must say so, you were the best thing in that show.
Oh, thank you. That show with Alan Toussaint was the musical director. And he wrote a ballad for me that was, I think it's called All I Need Is Love or something like that. And it was perfectly written. And I said, how did you write such a great song? Exactly how I would sing it, how I would want to sing it, the kind of melodic line that I would want to sing. And he said, because I had your voice in my ear. Wow. And I said, wow. But yeah, that show, it was fun. Very different from Bubbling Brown Sugar. I think I enjoyed doing that show mainly because of the character work. Because if you can remember, I played a voodoo queen. Mm-hmm. And I had these different characters that I played and I absolutely loved it. Unfortunately, the show was short-lived. Yeah. But you know. Yeah.
but you are not.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's go back a little bit. So you grew up in Pittsburgh, right?
Born and raised in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So what was it like growing up in Pittsburgh for you?
Well, I was so young. You know, I left Pittsburgh at 17 to come to New York to go to Juilliard. And my whole background was classical music. So I did not have the typical upbringing of a young person. Go out and play, flirt with the boys and all of this. I didn't have that kind of upbringing, and it was of my choosing because I was so ensconced in classical music because I started studying at an early age, and I look forward to going to my lessons. I gave concerts, my first concert at age 13 with my father. It was a father and daughter concert, and I enjoyed it. So it was different. So when I left Pittsburgh at 17 to go to Juilliard, it was, my eyes were like wide open to see a big city like New York with all these high risers. I mean, oh my God, it was like this young girl had been let loose. But yeah, I mean, it was amazing. I had amazing parents who, when they discovered that I could sing at age 3, I don't remember that, they put everything into me, you know, paid for my lessons. And dance actually came about much later. And acting came about much later. It was definitely about the classical music.
Yeah. So I'm really intrigued about, how do you go from Pittsburgh to Juilliard? I mean, you talked about you had the training, but what was that audition like for Juilliard?
It's hard. But don't forget, I was a classical singer. I was a dramatic soprano. So I didn't know anything about R&B. In fact, my nose was like this, R&B, what is that kind of music? No, no, honey, we didn't deal in jazz and all that stuff. It was all about classical music, opera, arias, and that kind of thing. The entrance to Juilliard, it was difficult because they want the best. So I remember I had to do an Italian art song. I had to do German lieder, arias, Negro spirituals, as they were called at that time. So it was very eclectic, my repertoire, my entrance exams, and I got a partial scholarship.
So after Juilliard, you did a national tour of Don't Bother Me, I Can't Cope. Am I in the right order?
Well, Mickey Grant was leaving the Broadway company of Don't Bother Me, I Can't Cope to go on vacation. So they had what you call a cattle call, you know, where all these women, is that what they call it? I can't remember. I hadn't said that term in a long time. Yeah. Cattle call, yes. And I had never been to a cattle call, so I never saw so many women. Lord have mercy, where'd all these women come from? Anyway, I went in there and I was sick. Now get this, I was sick because I had just come back from Bermuda doing a club there. And I caught some kind of flu. When I came back, I was sick as a dog. And then this call came. Danny said, you need to get yourself down to the Edison Theater. You know, Mickey's going on vacation. And so they're looking to replace her. Let me tell you something. And whoever's watching this, don't ever do what I'm about to tell you I did. I was so sick. I went down there. I don't remember what my audition piece. I know what I used to use a lot, and that's you're going to hear from me from Daisy Clover. But I went down there, sang my butt off. And then when I finished, I said, are you through? To a table of people auditioning me. And they said, okay, yeah. I said, okay, I got to go home. I'm sick. And I left. Oh no. And it happened again. When they called to tell me that I had a call back, they wanted me to come up and pick up some music, come down to the theater and pick up some music for the show. I told them, no, I couldn't do it. I was sick. They would have to send a messenger with it. And they actually sent a messenger with the 2 songs that I'm telling y'all, don't y'all ever do this. This is a story, honey. Don't do this. And so anyway, so they sent a messenger with the song. And when I was feeling a little better, I, got a pianist to go over it with me. And then the thing was, can you come in on Thursday? Like this was like on a Monday. I said, no, that's too soon. I'll come in next week. I just and they said, okay. Anyway, I ended up replacing her.
Oh, wow.
And then after that is when she came back to the show, and Vanette Carroll built a whole nother Don't Bother Me, I Can't Cope, which was nothing like the Broadway version. And she built it all around me. And it's because of Vanette Carroll that I started dance.
Now, look, you're talking about another iconic person in the American theater. We talked about Mickey Grant and Vanette Carroll.
Yes.
You don't hear Vanette Carroll's name very often. So what was it like working with Vanette?
She knows what she wants. She's in love, or was, because she's passed on several years ago. She was in love with talent, with gifted people, and she did like beautiful people. Okay, I got to throw that in there. But she wasn't for bullshit. You did not come on her stage and not have your crap together, because she would get rid of you. She was all about the work. And for me, being a disciplinarian, I sort of like that in a director who comes in for the first day of rehearsal, has sat down, planned out what he wants to do or his vision, even though he may change it or she may change it later, and let's go. Some directors don't work that way, and they lose the respect of the actors, but she knew clearly what she wanted, even if it changed later.
Yeah. Now, we recently lost Mickey Grant. Can you tell us a bit about what it was like working on a show that she wrote? She did the music and the lyrics and wrote the book as well. Am I correct?
Yes, she did all of that. Very, very talented lady. Not only a talented composer and writer, she was a great actress. And I don't know if a lot of people know that, if they've never seen her work. But she was amazing. Very, very soft-spoken when you would talk to her, but just incredibly talented. We had a lot of fun together down through the years. We ended up on the same shows sometimes, same concerts. And yeah, she was amazing. I was very sad when she passed.
Yeah. You know, I was speaking to someone, Ken Hansen today.
Oh, yes.
Telling me that he saw you in Don't Bother Me, I Can't Cope. I think in Chicago.
Chicago.
And I think he said Mickey Grant was out, and he said you did not only your role, and I think there was another woman out as well, but like you did like 3 roles that night.
He's totally confused if he said that. First of all, Mickey Grant was not there. Mickey Grant never did that role in Chicago. I was a star.
I could have misspoken.
I was a star of that show. Now, I will give you something that you may not know, and some of you watching may not know, older people who may not know this, but the show in Chicago started out with me and Lolita Holloway, the disco queen from the 80s. She was young and fresh out of church. She only had 1 song, and Vanette had given me 14 songs to sing. So when I heard Lolita sing that great voice, I said, well, how many songs does she have? And Danny Holgate said, well, she's got 1. I said, why does she only have 1? Somebody who sings like that. Anyway, to make a long story short, I ended up making her my co-star. So I gave her 3 of my songs. She ended up with 4. And I think I ended up still with 11 or 12. And she was great in the show. Now, at that particular time, let's be clear. Honey, she had no theater decorum at all. She was straight out of the church. Baby! We were singing, they were singing, because I was off stage getting ready to follow her, singing Fighting for Pharaoh, which was the gospel number of that show.
Yes.
Honey, when she finished singing Fighting for Pharaoh, those people had gone crazy in the audience. Miss Thing done left the stage, ran around, come in the other entrance on the other side, just like you do in church when you run around and get happy. I said, Lord, this child don't have no theater decorum. But you know what? She tore it up every time she opened up her mouth. She was amazing. And of course, she went on to do such great things in the record field. Yes, she was wonderful. And then, hold it. Who followed her was Nell Carter.
Wow.
So you're going from someone with a robust voice, huge, thick, to now.
Exactly.
So it was like totally 2 different kinds of voices. Now, another thing that you might not know is with Bubbling Brown Sugar, when we were at the Amos Repertory Theater, then it was up on 86th Street, Nell was the first gospel lady. She would have been on Broadway had they not fired her 2 times. And why did they fire her? Because the big song in that role was Fighting for Pharaoh. Well, Fighting for Pharaoh was so long, and Danny and them wanted to cut it. Well, when they start cutting some of her songs, some of the verses, I'm not taking this. I'm going. You're cutting all my verses. Then she would call me late at night, Vivian. So what did they cut? Not even enough verses to make a difference. So they let her back in, and then they decided it was still too long, and they cut some more. And that's when she left again. And that time they did not invite her back.
Yeah. You
know what? Who the hell cares? Because she ended up having a stellar career.
Yeah, she had an amazing career. And look, I'm from Birmingham, Alabama, and she's from Birmingham, Alabama. So she's one of the heroes of Birmingham. So when you were in New York City, sort of in between or probably after Juilliard, you had two really important men in your life, Honey Coles and
Bobby Schiffman.
Yes, exactly. What was it like? He was your manager, correct?
Yeah, but I was still at Juilliard at that time. It was in my second year there, and this agent named Ernestine McClendon heard me sing somewhere. It could have been probably at a church, and she said she wanted to take me by the Apollo Theater, and I was thinking to myself, I didn't know much about the Apollo, but I knew they weren't up there singing classical music. So I didn't understand that. Anyway, so we go by there, and I asked Bobby, what was it that he saw in this little skinny black girl that made him and Honey want to manage me? And he said, because Vivian, you were so talented, and I wanted to be a part of nourishing that. And so Honey taught me about the stage, and Bobby taught me the business of show business. Wow. So I met all the groups as they came in there. You name it, I met them. It was great.
Yeah. Oh my, Vivian, this is what I love about talking to legends like you. You know where all the bodies are buried.
Yes, all of them.
And then some.
And then some.
So we talked about Bubbling Brown Sugar, but I want people to hear a bit of God Bless the Child. And,
okay.
And Tony, if you can cue that up whenever you're ready, and as we'll continue talking, because again, I want people to understand how phenomenal you are in this number. And many people had sung this song prior to you, but no one did it quite the way that you did it. So Tony, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, that was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
So now we know why you got that Tony nomination. And now we know why you took Bubbling Brown Sugar to the West Coast and why you took it to Paris. You are so phenomenal in this role.
Thank you.
How did this arrangement for this come about? I mean, between you and Danny Holgate.
Well, when he gave me permission to change it, that I could change it and change some of the chords, because I didn't want any jazz chords behind me. Now, I do sing jazz, but in this song, the way I was feeling it was more R&B, pop, gospel. So I didn't want to hear any jazz chords, like hardcore jazz chords in the music, because that would have turned me off the way I was singing it. So I would call Danny. I said, well, what about this? When we would get together, and he said, oh yeah, that's good. He said, well, let's go here and let's do this. And that's how we planned it. And going back and forth, but he knew that I didn't want to hear any hardcore jazz chords, not at all. And so that's how we did the arrangement. Now it has changed here and there over the period of years. The structure of it, the basic structure of it is still the same, but sometimes in the middle, coming out of the bridge, I will put more measures in just to hold notes longer and that kind of thing, just to make it fresh for me, you know. But when Danny had his memorial at St. Peter's when he passed away a few years ago, I went back to the original version.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Now,
but,
you go ahead. I'm sorry. Go
no,
ahead.
I was about to say, but it's just not only God Bless the Child that I do that with. I do that with every song that I sing. When I'm constructing my shows, I think it is incumbent upon every singer, and I'm going to say singer in particular, sit down. You may not have all of the music education that I have, but that's okay. You can have a little recorder next to you. But it is incumbent upon you to come up with your way of singing a particular song, to bring freshness to it, rather than copying it, note for note, how the original person did it. Because the people listening, they can just go and stream it or, you know, play the CD.
Yeah.
So I'm like that with every song that I sing. When a musician is playing with me for the first time and he says something like, "Oh, you doing Fever? I know that song." I said, "No, you don't." I said, all you know is the title. That's all you know.
Look, now we've talked a lot about your career on Broadway, but you're so multifaceted. So you had a really extraordinary career as a recording artist, and one of your big tunes that you did was a tune called "Yours Until Tomorrow."
Yours Until Tomorrow. Yeah, that was on Epic Records.
Yeah.
And that was on the first album that I had.
Yeah.
And
who wrote that song?
I think it was
Carole King.
Carole King and I'm trying to think.
Jerry Goffin.
Goffin, that's it.
Yes.
Yes.
Goffin.
She wrote that song. Yes. Beautiful, beautiful song. And then as the years went on, I found other ways of singing it, and I sort of tweaked the arrangement a bit. When I sang it, when I was on Epic Records, I won't say it was stiff, but when I listen to it now, I do say, "Oh Lord, it's a little stiff." I got once I came out of that classical thing, I got a little looser. But anyway, yeah, that was yeah.
Look, the other day we had a chat the other day on the phone, and you were telling me about a really interesting interview that you had with a woman that a lot of our audience may not be familiar with, but some people would be. I'm familiar with her, Dinah Shore. Can you tell me what it was like being on her show, being interviewed by her? What was that like?
Oh, Dinah was funny because she didn't like interviews. She just didn't like interviews, and she said she was bad at it, and truer words were never spoken. Okay. Baby, I was invited to be on her show, and so she would ask me a question, and I would answer it, and then it would be this pregnant pause. So a few seconds would go by, so I'd start talking again, so we wouldn't have the pregnant pause. But then when she did it the second time, I just knew that was going to happen throughout the interview. So I only let if she didn't pick it up right away, I would just keep talking until I would look at her and then stop what I was saying or finish what I was saying, and then she would jump in. So I think it was just giving her time to gather her questions together. But she didn't. And at the end of it, she thanked me for saving her. She said, "I hate interviews." She said, "I'm not good at it." She said, and a lot of times it's just pauses, because I sometimes don't know what to ask and blah, blah, blah. It was interesting that she was that honest, but she was a very warm and beautiful person. And I did enjoy doing her show. And I think I did it twice.
Yeah. Now here we are in the world of television. Now television was a huge part of your career. Can you tell us some of the television shows that you performed on?
Oh Lord!
There
was a Tonight Show.
Yes.
What was the one that used to replace Johnny Carson? Joe. Can't think of his name, but I did his show. Sammy Davis, Bob Hope.
Oh wow!
There's been a lot. It's hard for me to think of because I haven't really. Nobody's asked me that question. How dare you? So I'm gonna have to be prepared the next time in case somebody else asks me that.
But no.
Yeah.
I wanted people to understand that, you know, you're not just a Broadway performer, that you've had so many facets to your career. And I think that's so important to, when we're talking about your receiving this Lifetime Achievement Award, we're literally looking at the achievements of your entire life. So,
oh, wait a minute. Omar Sharif. Now that was in case you young people don't know, Omar Sharif co-starred with Barbara Streisand in Funny Girl.
Yes.
And I was one of his special guests on his special in Paris, where I lived for 7 years. And we kissed at the end. You are woman, I am man. I think it was that song. And all the women were called, woo, what was it like kissing him? I said, well, it's all right. You know, listen, I'm an actress. I got to make it look good. You know, but they really want to know, because there was a lot of ladies loved him.
Yeah.
Loved him.
Yeah.
Thought he was all sexy and hot. Yeah. You know, but and then there was Charles Aznavour, famous singer-composer. I did his special. So there were a lot of specials, and I had my own TV special. I had my own TV show in several countries. So, yeah.
Yeah. And you just mentioned you were in Paris for 7 years. What was that like?
I went over there with a company of Bubbling Brown Sugar. That was great. The opening there was unbelievable, because grand. That was at the time when they were wearing gowns and tuxedos to the theater over there. And that's how I met Pierre Cardin, the famous designer. And he wanted me to come to his theater and perform, which I did a year later with my band. And we went over there from, and that particular time, I was not living there. That came about maybe 2 or 3 years later. But I was at his theater, and he asked me, he said, what color, what is the color of one of your gowns that you're wearing in your concert, for your concert? And I said, red. He changed every seat in his theater to red.
Wow.
Every seat to red. Yeah, he was wonderful. He afforded me the opportunity to go to Japan, because he had a new line coming out. It was my one and only time that I've been to Japan. Mm-hmm. And he took me there. That was great. Yeah, I've been so blessed, Eric, in my career. Sometimes when I get down on myself because I say, oh, I haven't achieved everything that I wanted to achieve, but then I have to stop and think of all of the talented people that come or want to come into this business who can't get a foot in the door.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I said, girl, you better shut up.
Yeah.
Look at what you've done that people could only dream of, you know, and I'm so grateful that God has blessed me, that I have met some incredibly talented people down through the years, work with them. So it's been a blessing. Yeah.
Yeah. And it goes back to that song, God Bless the Child.
The child has got his own. But I worked hard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No one gave me anything. I think that's why I demand excellence on the stage. Like if I'm in a number that involves 2 or 3 other people, so it's just not my number. It's our number. So if I'm going to go home after rehearsal, put in the work, deal with the staging, learn my lyrics, why can't you?
Yeah. Wow.
And see, people used to call me a bitch because they didn't really understand me as far as the work was concerned. But I feel, okay, if you want to call me a bitch, okay?
Yeah.
Here's the bottom line for me. People come to the theater to see you. They pay hard-earned money to see us on the stage. We have to work hard to thank them for coming to see us by giving them our best.
Yes.
So no, you can't be coming on the stage with me because you go home, you don't do your homework, you don't do what the director said, the staging, you don't deal with that, you don't deal with the choreography. So when you come in the next day, you're at the same place where you were the day before. So what happens? Everybody has to stop while we wait for you to remember what the director gave you the day before, or the choreographer, or the musical director.
Mhm.
I don't have time for that.
Yeah, yeah. You know, what you just said reminded me of a line from one of my favorite movies, Dolores Claiborne. There's a scene where a woman says to Dolores, who's played by Kathy Bates, she says, sometimes being a bitch is the only thing that a woman has to hold on to.
What, Lord?
Isn't that great?
Don't make me shout up in here.
You know what I'm saying? It's such a it's stuck with me for 10 years. And when you said that, I immediately said, sometimes you have to be a bitch in this world. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, Eric, when I met Joe Robinson, no, that's not his name. The baseball player.
Oh, Bill Robinson.
No.
That's the yes. Yes, Robinson.
Is it Joe Robinson? Oh my God, this is terrible. Is it Joe Robinson?
Jackie
Robinson. Thank you. Oh my God. We both had
I know
little mind parts up there. But anyway, Bobby introduced me to Jackie Robinson, and he said to Jackie, because Jackie was always on the Mike Douglas show, and he said, "You think you can get my little star here on the Mike Douglas show?" And he did. So I was on Mike Douglas show quite a bit. Well, one day after rehearsal, before we did the show that night, I don't really know what his conductor was referring to, but he took me aside and he said, "You know, Vivian, you're very young, you're very green." He said, "But you're going to have to toughen up." Wow. He said, "Because if you don't toughen up, people are going to walk all over you." I thought, wow, that's a strange thing to say, but you know what? He was right.
Yeah.
I became a raging lunatic. No, I'm only kidding. But no, he is right. This business, number one, you don't want to be an uninformed, unintelligent person in this business, because people will take advantage of that. They will cheat you, they will steal from you, and you will lose. Yeah. You want to be informed. You want to be intelligent about how this business operates. You just don't want to only just be a great performer. You want to be a great business person so that you know how to act and exist inside of this business. Yeah. And that's what Bobby gave me. And I did I had to toughen up. I had no choice.
Yeah. And people forget it's called show business.
Show business.
Yeah.
That's it.
So when you talked about Pierre Cardin,
yes,
fashion has always been a part of your life.
Oh God, yes.
I mean, I was rummaging through the images of you on the internet, and you're just in gown after gown after gown, and just the cover of Jet magazine. I mean, the album covers. It's all incredible. So tell me what it was like being on a part of Mr. Blackwell's best dress list.
It was great. I didn't know until someone told me.
Feat.
And
That's a phenomenal feat.
Yeah, it is. He said on Merv Griffin's show one night that I saw, he said, Vivian Reed could put on a sack and make it look good. I just always been into fashion, and I love to dress. I design everything that I wear today on the stage. I don't make them, because I do have my own line where I make everything like ponchos and scarves. But when it comes to my gowns, I have a lady by the name of Cassandra Bromfield, and I will design them, put them down, and she creates them, because I don't want to sew for myself. I need somebody to sew for me to bring my designs to reality, and then to fit them so that they look fabulous. I wouldn't want to do that for myself. So we are a great team. Now, I have come up with some stuff, and she said, we can't do that. That's not going to work. And we put our heads together, because I also can sew my butt off. And so we put our heads together, and sometimes I have come up with stuff, and she said, Vivian, I don't know how to do that. We can't do that. That's impossible. So she's very honest with me if I come up with a design where she says, Vivian, that is impossible. So
Vivian, let me ask you this. what can't you do? Because look, when we were getting ready for, let me tell the audience this, when we were getting ready for this show, our facilitator Tony, you were saying, I've got my studio lights, I know how to edit. You're talking about Adobe, you're talking about you're a photographer, you design scarves, you sing, you act. I mean, this is,
and I build furniture.
But this is why you were one of People Magazine's most intriguing people.
But hold it. When people say, I wish I could do that, I don't accept that at all. Because, okay, let's take the piano here. I love the piano. I'm hardest on pianists. They have to be able to play in all these different genres of music, including classical, because I sing in all of them, except I don't do country. That's not my thing, because you have to have a little thing in your voice for that, and I don't have that thing. Right. But I never was interested in learning it, although I love the instrument. I love a good pianist. Anything that I was passionate about, that I wanted to learn, I did whatever was necessary. Books, YouTube, you name it. So anyone can do anything that they want to do. You just have to put your mind to it, and you have to put in the work. Yeah.
I think that's one of the keys to life, is never losing that sense of curiosity.
Yes.
And never always understanding that you can always learn, you can always evolve, you can always become.
Always.
And
it helped me when I did my sewing skills, because when I went to do what's old man River? What's the show? Showboat. Couldn't think of that for a minute. And up in
Queenie in Showboat, correct?
Huh?
You played Queenie in Showboat.
I sure did, and it had never been cast with someone who looks like me. Usually, it's a larger woman, but Hal Prince wanted to go a little different, and so when I went for my fitting, you could still see the imprint of my breast and all of that. And she's looking, and you could still see that I was a small woman. So I said to her, do you mind if I make a suggestion? Because I sew. She said, oh, you do? So we talked about that, because you always have to pay respect. You just can't say, this is how you should do it, and this is how. No, you don't do that. You pay respect, because she was very talented. What I suggested to her, I said, make an underskirt and share it all the way around. That's gathers all the way around, and that'll round me off. And up here, just do extra padding, like that old mom look. Just do extra padding, and you won't see my breast at all, except, just a small mound there. And once she did all that, it worked.
Wow. Yeah.
And she thanked me, because she hadn't thought about that, because I guess creating for someone who's a bit heavier, you don't have to go through all of those things.
Yeah.
But I wanted her to round me out and make me a little more portly.
Yeah. Now, again, Ken Hansen told me he saw you play this role opposite.
He did.
Valerie Pettiford in Toronto, correct?
Yes.
And he said you and she were both exquisite in these roles. Well,
a lot of people came up to see. No one, including myself, could fathom me playing the role of Queenie, because it had never been cast like that before. And so a lot of people let me know that they came up from New York because they had to see this. But my mother and father come from the South, so I added a little Southern drawl to the way Queenie spoke her lines. Excuse me. And there were the biggest compliments that I received was that there was no trace of Vivian Reed on the stage. None. The makeup, dark lips. I was like a country woman. When I said my legs were wide, the way I talked, there was nothing diva-ish.
Yeah. So you completely transformed.
Absolutely transformed.
Wow. Wow. Hey,
And that's what I love. I love those roles that will allow you to do that.
Well, let's talk about one of those roles where you transformed that you did very recently. Now, I didn't get a chance to see this, but everyone who saw you in Blues in the Night on the West Coast raved about your performance. Ren Brown, your director,
yes,
he said she is a beast. She's a force of nature. Let me read you some of your reviews. I'm sure you didn't read these. It says Vivian is giving a masterclass on stage. You know, hold on, I'm getting my notes. I'm getting my notes.
You got them glasses on, child. Don't take off them glasses as long as you read.
Exactly. Wait a minute. This is exactly what they said. She gives a masterclass in vocal technique, giving new life to every song. That's one review. The second one said she's a talented vocalist. She can charm the birds from the trees. You know, Vivian, what was it like doing this music? The play was written by Sheldon. It was conceived by Sheldon Epps. What was it like singing all this blues music? Because again, I'm sure, you know, you sort of did a little of this in Bubbling Brown Sugar, but this evening was celebrating this art form, this Black art form that changed America.
Well, okay, I did something else that's rarely done. I listened to all the music. The 11 o'clock number, Wasted Life Blues, although it's been done many times and it's been done fantastic by many people, it just didn't work for me, that arrangement. So I called Ren up and I said, listen, I got to change this. I have to change this arrangement. I said, I need to do an arrangement that will show those lyrics off to their best. And I'm not getting that from something that repeats over and over the same thing. He said, okay, then do what you want. So I set up. It was dramatic. But he had to call Sheldon. And Sheldon said, let Vivian do what she feels.
Does. Yeah.
And I've had directors say that to me before. Because the thing, I'm never going to change anything that is going to go against that role or that character. I only will change to make that character better, or especially if I know I can deliver it a certain way that's going to take it all the way up there, then I will do my best so that audience, and I had 6 songs. I wanted every time I hit that stage for it to be a production unto itself, for it to be a moment.
Yeah.
And not just singing. I don't just sing. That's what I told my students. You want to become a performer, an artist. Just a singer, and you ain't got nothing behind those words, those lyrics. You don't know what you're singing about? Please. Yeah. I won't come see you. Or if I come see you the first time, I won't come back.
Yeah.
To me, it is really not about how great a singer you are. I mean, if you have that, that's fine. But let me tell you something. I have heard singers with mediocre voices who made me cry because of what they brought to that piece of music. An audience, you want to keep an audience riveted, hanging on every note, every word. You got to give them something.
Yeah.
And so that's when I go into a show, like as with Blues in the Night, I looked at every one of those songs and I said, okay, I got together with Billy McDaniel. I said, this is what I want to do. And they even pointed that out in several of the reviews that I had made the songs fresh.
Yeah.
And so that's what I strive to do. Now, having said that, okay, y'all listen to this now. Having said that, if you're going to do that, make sure you got the goods to deliver it.
There you go.
Make sure you know what you're talking about. That you just not going thinking that you could just do whatever you want after they have given you permission, and then you come up with basically nothing.
Come on now. Come on now.
And I'm about sitting down with every show that I have constructed, sitting down and saying, what with the Lena Horne show that I created. I didn't want to do her arrangements, but yet you have to always keep the integrity of the piece. But I wanted freshness. And so I sat down with every song.
Yeah.
And I didn't call my conductor in to chart them until I knew what I wanted to do with every song.
Wow.
Everyone. And everyone had to be different. And to me, that's the joy of being in this business, the joy of doing theater, the joy of, after an 8-hour day of rehearsal, go home, have a bite to eat, and then get to work on that script, get to work on those steps. That's my joy. Yeah. It's not everybody's joy, but it's my joy.
It's yours. Oh, wow. You know, you mentioned about being an educator, about
yes.
teaching your students. So I know you were at the Berkeley School of Music. Is that?
Yeah, I taught at Berkeley College of Music for 2.5 to 3 years. And they wanted me up there, and I didn't want to do it. Mm-hmm. So I told them no. And then I went off to do Showboat, and they kept calling. This was like maybe a couple of years later. And I finally thought, you know, Vivian, you need to give back. You have all of this experience, all of this knowledge. You need to pass this on, pay it forward. So that's what I did. When they called the next time, I said, okay, let's talk. I said, but here's the thing. I will only come if you let me set my own curriculum. They said, what do you want to do? I said, do you have a performance class? They said, what do you mean? I said, a performance class. These are singers. I'm going to be in the voice department. They said, no. In my head, I'm going, what? How you have a school with singers and you don't have a performance class? Anyway, yeah. So I created a performance class. And I taught maybe 8 or 9 private students. And then I had several performance classes. And all this went over 2 days. I would commute back and forth to Boston. And they loved it. I taught them the differences between theater performances and nightclub / concert. I taught them microphone technique. I did all of that. And at Marymount, where I am today, which is mostly theater, when they come for their lessons, there's this thing that these students are doing, and they've been doing it for quite a few years, but I don't allow my students to do it. What they do, Eric, is they stare straight ahead. They come onto the stage and they stare like this. There's people doing it on Broadway. They just stare like this while they're singing their song. What the hell? When I first saw that, I said, what in the world are they doing? Because teachers have told them to do this, you know, passed it on. I don't allow my students to do this. I said, you have to sing with some conviction. You have to sell that story. You have to see the sky, see the ground. You can't see the ground and see the sky always staring at a spot like this. I mean, that's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. So I have turned my students into some wonderful performers, and they have to sign a mission statement. Wow. This is what I teach. I want to turn you into great performers. If you don't want to go through this, I'm not the teacher for you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
You know, I'm gonna toss out some names of some really important people, and I want you to give me one word that sort of describes them from your perspective.
And I know all these people, hopefully.
Yes, you do. The first one is Lena Horne.
Glamorous.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Diana Sands.
Serious.
Wow. Rosetta Lenoir.
Creator.
Mm-hmm. Billy Wilson.
Dynamic.
Wow. Danny Holgate.
Well, there's a few for him, but I will say giving.
Luther Henderson.
Talented.
Billy Allen.
Actress.
Wow. Thank you for that. And my last question for you, because look, Vivian, I could talk to you all day. I mean, you know, you have such an extraordinary career. That's the reason why we're giving you this honor, because your life has been full of so many achievements on so many levels.
Thank you.
But I want to leave with this one moment. If you had an opportunity to go back in time and speak to that young, ambitious, talented, your younger self, what would you say to her?
Don't be so Hal Perrineau. You know that name, Hal Perrineau?
I know him well.
I know him as Harold Williams. Okay, he changed it. He used to be one of my dancers, and he's on that video of Sweet Georgia Brown. Anyway, he said, "Why do you have to be so tense?" But see, I was coming from the classical world, and I wanted things like this. I think if I could do it over, I wouldn't be so judgmental. I wouldn't be so quick to go off when somebody can't do something. And I'm very different now, but I wasn't so then, because I was a bit of a perfectionist. Not that I'm not now, but I backed off quite a bit. I would just tell my younger self, slow down. Slow down and consider the other person.
Wow.
Vivian, and I think it would have benefited me more.
Yeah. Vivian Reed, thank you.
Oh,
I want to say thank you for your artistry. Thank you for your legacy. And just thank you for being you. Your story is riveting. It's important. And it's so vital. One of the reasons why we're doing these conversations is, you know, it's so important that we have these permanent records of our history.
Yes.
And you are such a huge part of that story. And you're part of the many, many hues of that history. So I thank you for this journey. And the best is yet to come.
Woo! Praise the Lord. Thank you.
Amen. So I thank you. And I look forward to seeing you on Sunday for Project
Yes.
Honors. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful evening celebrating some really, really fantastic people. You're in a great assortment of honorees. We have Sheila K. Davis from New Professional Theater. We have Kojo Ade, who is the cultural minister. We have Kathy A. Perkins, who is a historian and lighting designer. Who, of course, Vivian Reed. But it's a really, really fantastic evening. So I hope you all will join us. So Vivian Reed, thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you on Sunday.
Okay. And Eric, I want to say thank you. Thank you for everything.
Yeah. No, I know. I got you. We got it. So Tony, don't take me out yet. So this was exciting. Look, I don't consider myself I'm not an interviewer. I'm just a person who's doing what I do. So I've enjoyed having this time with the Vivian Reed, the great Vivian Reed, to talk a little bit about her life, her career, and the uniqueness of it. So that's what we're going to do this Sunday on Juneteenth, as we celebrate Freedom Day, as we celebrate the emancipation of our creative voices. So join us. I hope you will on June 19th, which is Father's Day, Juneteenth, Freedom Day, for Project One Voice Honors. So you can watch it on our YouTube channel beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And after that, it will be on YouTube for an eternity. Also, this episode of Project One Voice Live will also be on YouTube, so please share that with your friends. Also, I'd like to let you know that on June 20th, just to remind you, we will be presenting our stage reading of From the Mississippi Delta by Dr. Endesha Ida Mae Holland. It's an extraordinary story and we have four extraordinary actresses. I hope I get them all right. It's Lisa Arundel. Brenda Denmark, Elaine Graham, and Inga Ballard. It's being directed by Melissa Mowry. It's an incredible story, so I hope you join us. The reading will only be available for starting June 20th for about 4 days. So you have until Thursday to watch it. So please share it with your friends. And this year, what we're doing for the entire 2 days is we're encouraging and asking people to find those Black creative institutions in your community and find a way to support and engage with that community. You can support it by, of course, financially, but you can also volunteer. You can become a ticket taker. You can become an usher. You can find a way to support Black creativity in your community. So if you need to know of a Black creative organization in your part of the country, please visit our website. That's project1voice.org. And there's a listing of all the HBC or a listing of HBCUs in this country, a listing of Black theaters, Black dance companies, and Black museums. So please visit project1voice.org. And that's it. So for me and Tony Lindo, who's an amazing facilitator, he comes on board and makes me look great, makes all of this work so smoothly. I want to thank the Project One Voice Board of Trustees. I want to thank the absolutely amazing Yvette Lindo. It's Tony's wife. She's been an incredible friend, and just an amazing person. I want to thank Tasha Mayfield Anderson, who is a new addition to the Project One Voice team. She is extraordinary, and she's put up with me this entire time. So I want to thank Tasha for just being such an incredible human being, and I look forward to us working together more and more and more. So so that's it. That's it for me. We'll see you hopefully this weekend for Project One Voice Honors and One Play One Day. So Tony, take us out and have a great one. I'll talk to you soon. I'll see you next time on Project One Voice Live. Have a great one.